Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. This week's video, I just wanted to chat a little bit about autism advocacy and what is a parent's job and what is a calling. I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but often, and I have come across this a couple of times, is there's a certain amount of advocacy that you have to do having a child with autism, whether it's advocacy in a school, it's advocating for your child as in a medical situation, or advocating for them when you're out and about. And then there's advocacy on a much larger scale. And there have been times, especially since I have this little YouTube channel, that there have been people who have approached me and suggested that I should be doing more, or this channel should be a lot bigger because I should be doing this, that, or the other thing. And it will help our children if you get bigger, and therefore you'll be able to tell people more. And there are channels out there. I'm thinking Fathering Autism as being a really big one that just shares their journey. And my husband and I have already made the decision that we're not sharing our kids on a platform. I just don't feel good about it, and so I'm not going to do it. But there's a lot of pressure, because as autism and the awareness of it has become bigger, then anybody who is willing to share anything should share all of the things, or should be involved in, campaigns to talk to the government, or fixing certain groups that are supposed to be helping but are failing, all of those sorts of things. What are you supposed to do? There's so many things that are pressure, and the underlining thing that I want anyone watching this video to take away is you do you. You do what you feel comfortable with, what you feel you're up to tackling, taking care of. Do not let somebody else suggest that you need to do this, that, or the other thing. Otherwise, you are not being a good autism parent or a good autism advocate. Now, I will share a little bit about what I have chosen, what I have decided, mainly because I want to underline just how much you can say no, because sometimes we have to. So one of the big things that I kept being told that we as autism parents needed to do for our own health, but also for the health of our child, was to have him in school. I will leave a link down below to our school experience, and how much advocating for him was so much more work than actually homeschooling him. But I will leave that link down below. And then they kept saying, you need respite, you need this, and you need that. So we live in Alberta, Canada. There's a program called FSCD. You need to get on there so that you can have respite, and you can have things like dental covered for your son, because he needs to be put under in order to get any sort of dental work done. And I said, oh, okay, well, that sounds lovely. And the more years that I spent in FSCD, the more exhausted and tired and stressed I was. And so I did something completely radical, apparently. And I said, you don't need to come anymore. I don't want FSCD anymore, because you guys are actually more stressed than you are help. And that came from a variety of different things that came across. One of it was, is your child's dental issues actually due to his autism? He doesn't like seeing the dentist on a regular basis, so you tell me. And we had, like, for a good year and a half, we were fighting with them to get it covered. And then I found out later that that program that was supposed to cover his bill only covered part of it and left the dentist holding the bag. And then every year they would come and they would go through a long list of, does he do this? Does he do this yet? Does he do this? Does he do this? And it was just every time they came, I felt exhausted. I felt frustrated because it was a list of all the things that he couldn't do and all the things that ways I was failing. And it's not that they made you feel that way, but after 3 hours of those types of questions, you're like, I can't do anything. So it was a lot of that sort of thing, and I just let them go. Well, 3 years later, a government official did a review of that particular program and said that they are highly ineffective, and that it needs to be completely redone. And I'm like, shocker. But for the last several years, I haven't had to deal with it, and I'm really happy. Now, there's a lady that I know who, she was like, that is exactly the wrong approach for you to take, because by you leaving, they've stamped Darrion's file as completed, fixed, done. And if you had stayed in there and fought and fought and fought and fought, then FSCD maybe would have changed or been better or whatever. And my response to that is, bless you, I'm so glad that that is a calling that you have to fight, and I appreciate that, but I can't be that angry, that frustrated, that exhausted for the years that you've been doing this. I can't do it and be effective as a homeschool parent to my daughters and to my son. And I'm okay with that, even if she's not okay with that. And so it's one of the funny things about this community, or some communities, where we need to together take up arms and go fight the bad guy and deal with it. And eventually I just say no. Another way that has happened is Darrion's school system. And when we were struggling, I was hitting wall after wall after wall because the system isn't made to take care of children with special needs. Some parents manage to do it, and God bless you if you happen to be one of them, or you have excellent teachers that are doing a great job and are able to adapt. The school that we were at, they weren't. And so while I hold no ill will to any of the people over at that school, I learned very quickly once I pulled him out of school that I was expending far less energy by homeschooling him myself than I was banging my head against that particular wall, if that makes sense. Another way that we advocate for our son, and this one is a little bit tricky for me, but it's dealing with the medical system / dental system and trying to figure out the best way to go. And what I mean by tricky is that sometimes it's very difficult to advocate for them. And I'll leave Darrion's dental journey down below, but the second time we ended up doing it, it was rough. It was rough because he struggled. He was over medicated this last time, and so he took forever to wake up. And I had told them that he woke up in the operating room. There's the word. In the operating room, he woke up, and so the next lady went a little overboard, the anesthesiologist, and we so at the end of the day of all of this is, you do you. You make the choices that are best for you, for your energy, for you being the best parent that you can be to that special needs child. And don't worry about whether or not you're doing enough for autism and children who have autism around the world. There's been struggles about figuring out where that line is, and I'm really happy with where I am because I've had to be. I have to have energy for my kids, and if I'm extending it out there, then it gives way less for my children right now. When Darrion grows up, I'm going to be advocating for him when he's an adult. But maybe I will have more time to be more vocal advocate out in the greater autism world. I don't know. But this message is just for those who are feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by some of the things that are supposed to help us and often fail. And it is okay to say, we're going to try something else. We're going to see if there's a better balance that can be met by doing something different. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form saying you need to homeschool, you need to take on the medical system, the school system, whatever. I am not advocating for any of that. What I'm advocating for is a healthy mama and papa who's able to give what they need to give to their kiddos. I hope that this has been a helpful video. It's been really nice to be able to flesh out some of these ideas so that I can tell myself these things when I feel like, but I hope that this has been helpful. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you are enjoying your summers wherever you might be. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.